So I do an occasional series on this channel called Tone Heaven, or sometimes I think I've called it Building My Tone, or it used to be Finding My Tone, that sort of thing. It's about finding a sound that I've got in my head or I've heard on a record. And this one I've been actually thinking about for years, but I've never come across the right thing that just instantly gave me that feeling and that vibe. Today I'm going to show you the amp, the guitar, and the 3 pedals I've used to get this sound that I'm really loving. One part of the rig I think is the most key, and it's not the amp or the guitar, I don't think. We'll get there in a minute. Okay, let's hear just the amp and the guitar. This is a Gibson 64 reissue SG that doesn't have stock pickups. It's got Sunbear 59 paths. Stuart at Sunbear makes amazing replica paths. This is his 59 set. He does a 57 set. He does a 58 reserve set. And in this guitar, I particularly enjoyed the 59 set, although I want to try the other ones as well. Let's hear it through the amp clean. This is the Two Rock Bloomfield Drive, which I have on loan from Coda. And this is the Coda Guitars, by the way, it's a shop near London. And this is in the 40-watt mode. And I think this particular sound loves a smaller amp, one which the pedals will be able to push quite nicely over the edge. But we'll hear that in a minute. First, let's just hear the little bit on the amp. So I'm mainly sticking in the neck position for this. I think I do try the bridge position at one point, but I like the little bit of low end grunt and the sweetness as well in the upper mids that you get in the neck position for this. Now, I was considering doing a lesson about this sort of thumb drone style, so if you're interested, I might make that in the next couple of weeks. I've loved Junior Kimbrough for a couple of years now, listened to him quite a lot. I mean, there's a limited amount out there. He was sort of a very low-key guy who I think was more discovered right near the end of his life. He had a bar down probably, I can't remember if it was Mississippi or somewhere near there. And he would sit on stage every night with a bassist and a drummer and just play in his own bar. And when he passed away, the Black Keys made an album called Chulahoma. So maybe he's from Oklahoma. That would make sense. But anyway, and they did a cover version of this song, Meet Me in the City. It's quite different. The original one on the Junior Kimbrough recording is a bit more folksy, I would say, and this is in the inimitable Black Keys style, but this whole album, Chulahoma, was based around Junior Kimbrough's style. I love it. I love what they've done with it, and I tried to get the tone here and not play it exactly, but just play it in my own way. So the next pedal that I'll kick, or the first pedal I'll kick in, which is almost in every video that I do now, is the dual analog delay from Analogman. It has time, feedback, and level controls ×2, and so you can flick back and forth between setting a longer, delay at a shorter one or whatever you want. But it has got its own tone in the sort of model of analog delays, which I've got an original tape analog delay which has tubes in it. You know, they have a tone of their own. This adds some warmth and some thickness. It's beautiful. It's my favorite ever delay pedal, set in this very short way. It gives you just a little bit of room and a bit of that warmth. Okay. Now, a pedal I used to use a lot and then haven't used for a while for some reason. I'm not sure why I haven't used it. It just went on the shelf. Is the Vemuram Shanks. I've made quite a few videos about this and get a lot of questions about it, especially comparing it to the Jan Ray. Funnily enough, when I went to NAMM in January in Los Angeles, I bumped into John Shanks at a guitar shop while I was buying a guitar. And yeah, he's a really, really lovely guy. I asked him about the pedal. I mean, he doesn't watch YouTube or anything. And I said to him, you know, I love using your pedal. It's one of those things that just seems to have so many tones in it. And in a way, what I mean by that is it has a lot of tones and it has no tones. What does that mean? It allows your guitar and amp to shine, basically. In a lot of ways, it feels like you've just added a bit of harmonic loveliness to your amp, but you can still hear that. You know, when we say transparent overdrive, I think the Shanks is a really interesting one because it does have its own edge, its own furriness, its own like harmonics character really strongly. But the way I've set it, with not too much volume, not too much gain, it's adding something, but you can still hear the guitar and the amp really well. And it's incredibly dynamic. I think that's the reason why I like it the most. That and the Jam Ray, they feel like a wound up amp in that sort of feedback to your fingers. So that was the Shanks. Now let's hear what I think is the key to this tone. This is the Rare Earth Germanium Device from D Kowalski. And I've had this around for a while. He sent it to me very kindly for demoing and looking at, and I've let him down a little bit. I've had injuries and time off and things. And so I've been playing with it all of this last 10 days or so, and it's really cool. It's really cool. I love what it's doing here. Humbuckers and fuzz to me are actually more, give me so much more character than even, I think with a Strat, fuzz faces and Strats, match made in heaven, Jimi Hendrix, my sort of thing. I love it. But there's something about humbuckers and a not very full-on fuzz that gives you that feeling of the old small speaker or the old small amp and the overdriving amp and broken basically, and it sounds like an old recording. And yeah, it's a little bit noisy. These are proper analog devices with a bit of oomph to them. And this one, it's one of those where I haven't enjoyed every sound I've had from it. Some pedals have a bit more of either a neutral or a bland. That's maybe not the word I'm looking for because I don't mean boring, but a character that works with everything. But actually a big strength of a pedal, and I would say in this case, is that I haven't enjoyed its tone with everything. Sometimes I found it a bit too nasal or something else. But in the last couple of weeks, I found some tones that I've been absolutely bowled over by, and the center of them have been this pedal. So I think it's one of those where you can find some real magic. So if you're looking for inspiration, especially if you're like looking for a sound to record, I would say the Rare Earth Germanium Device is something you could get hold of, and it can really give you some interesting tones that you're not going to get elsewhere. You won't hear it in this video. On the side, it's like a boost. It goes completely mad. I will do another video, I think, hopefully with this soon. It goes very loud, very fuzzy and overdriven in a cool way, and I think better for Strats than for hums. now we put it all together again. And I think what's so key to this tone, okay, yeah, the guitar is wicked. It's probably my favorite guitar. The amp in this case is quite neutral, the Bloomfield Drive, but having that 40 watts instead of 100 watts just means I know I'm going to get to reach its sort of edge of breakup point at least without having to throw too much at it. Yes, the delay is the bedrock of all my tones now. I just think it adds something special. I could have used other overdrives, I think, because it's taking what the fuzz does and just pushing that a bit, smoothing it out a little bit, giving me maybe a bit more dynamics, but I think the Jam Ray could have done that. I think the pedals from Great Eastern Effects could do that. I think your Noble's ODR1 type pedal could do that, which is a bit like a Shanks. So many of them, right? A fuzz followed by a overdrive into a clean amp is just probably my favorite way of setting them up, rather than fuzz into an overdriven amp, which a lot of people like. I like how I can control the pedal more and turn that off and on, and it just gives me more to play around with. So this sort of droning style I find really good fun. I released a video a couple of days ago about how I'd got a bit bored with my own playing, and it was a difficult video to release because I knew it would be a bit hit and miss. It was a bit of a slow, long video. Some people really liked it, and then I got some comments where people thought it was boring or just like not worth watching or whatever. That's fine, I get that. And I talked about using a looper, and I've been using a looper every day at the moment. But there is this style, which I love, where you're sort of self-accompanying. If you really want to hear someone who's amazing at this, you know, I'm not in that category. There's two people I'd point you towards. D Simo, who does some really low-key videos on YouTube, but obviously is one of my favorite, or one of the greatest blues players around at the moment, in my opinion. He's done some great stuff, which I can't, when I watch it, I just think, I don't even know how to start doing that. And secondly, Barry Cadogan. Barry Cadogan does some amazing videos. I initially found him with the, he was doing some Gibson stuff with old, 59 Les Paul, and then his own array of vintage guitars. And he does some very cool early blues styles, or early sort of rhythm and blues sort of stuff. And he accompanies himself in a way that I just find the most inspirational and musical as well. Barry Cadogan is a complete gem. Anyway, with this, you can, what's great is you can roll back and it will clear up. On the record, the Black Keys record, it starts clean and ends more overdriven. I played most of this stuff in this video quite overdriven already, like the second half of the track, but you can easily wind this back. I'm not sure if I've got any example of that I actually recorded, but you can easily wind this back and get your guitar completely clean. And then start winding up from there. So yeah, I mean, obviously we don't have the Rare Earth Germanium Device because it is a small boutique pedal maker. I'd recommend looking him up. It's a really interesting one, slightly different to any other fuzz I've got. But B, you could use other germanium devices. I would say, your standard fuzz face might be a bit heavy on the bass, but whatever your favorite germanium is may work. And then, yeah, pushing it a little bit with this sort of gain, this sort of harmonic gain, the sort of soft clipping stuff, the Shanks or the Noble's ODR1 or the Carbon by Brown Protein, that sort of thing. Add a bit of delay for that bit of space, especially when you're playing alone. If you're self-accompanying, I mean, you could play this style if you get adept at it. You can play this by yourself, and if you can sing, even better. As in, you could play it two people at a small gig or busking or whatever. I think it's really cool, and you can do it on an acoustic guitar as well. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one, this Tone Heaven. I'm hoping to do more of these, just sort of standard fun gear videos with a bit of different new playing each time, which I find really fun to do. So cool. I'll see you on the next one. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. A while back I was going to be doing a 10K subscriber giveaway, but then I started taking some time off from YouTube just at that moment, and sort of it passed without much fanfare. And I was going to be giving away a set of Sunbear PAFs. I will do that. I think I'm going to wait till the autumn. So whoever's subscribed by, let's say, September, I will do the giveaway in September. Sorry for the big delay on that. I know Stuart is building a new workshop and having lots of stuff done, so I don't want to put that on him right now. So let's wait till September. I'll do the giveaway. Just subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up, so that really helps with helping people to see it, and lets me know that you've enjoyed it. All right, cheers.